Have you ever experienced being in some form of an anxious avoidant trap? Perhaps with one of your exes, even a current relationship, or a friend or a family member? Well, in this video, we are going to cover the major wounds of each side in this dynamic, and I will give you a couple of crucial tips to help you navigate some of these challenges so you can get out of this vicious cycle of pushing each other's buttons and causing each other some pain and friction that can long term lead to a lot of resentment in relationships. So, one of the first things you want to understand first is that the dismissive avoidant, they tend to have big sensitivities that come into play in regards to their wounds when dating an anxious preoccupied. One of the biggest first wounds that's activated quite frequently in the anxious avoidant trap by the DA is they easily feel defective or like something's wrong with them when their partner criticizes them. Now, I understand that when, this happens, often it's because the anxious preoccupied person is feeling frustrated in the relationship. But I really want to highlight here that one of the first things that you can do is if you're an anxious preoccupied individual, try to communicate your needs in the positive. If you communicate, hey, I could use some support. Do you mind taking the kids to soccer practice? Instead of saying something like, hey, you never take a turn driving the kids. It's so frustrating. The positive form of the communication is going to land. If you're dating somebody who's DA and you say something like, hey, you never call me back, or hey, you never text me enough, instead of saying, hey, I really like when we get to connect and when there's a sense of certainty in the relationship, I would appreciate if you would text more often. This is going to actually land. It's actually going to be heard by your DA partner. When you say you never do this or you never do that, it actually causes the dismissive avoidant to feel shamed and criticized, and they shut down and they go within. And that information isn't going to get through to them in that space. So it can be very limiting for this woundedness in the dynamic. The next big thing that can be really triggering for a dismissive avoidant that is a great workaround is dismissive avoidants really fear and have a wound around losing their sense of self in the relationship. What I recommend to sort of counteract this is as an anxious, preoccupied individual to tell your dismissive avoidant partner, listen, I totally know that you need time alone. I respect that. I also need quality time. So why don't we just make conscious, intentional time for both? Why don't we make time to have quality time 1 or 2 nights a week? That's going to be our time. If you could be really present for that time, I'll be really happy to support you in taking the time you need alone. And on top of that, as a dismissive avoidant, if you are more reassuring to your anxious preoccupied partner when you do take that time alone, APs can hold space better for your needs for freedom and for independence if there's a lot of reassurance in that process. So it's another big tip to get out of this like cyclical woundedness that can take place within this relationship. Another big thing that can happen is dismissive avoidants tend to be more hurt by words, whereas anxious preoccupieds tend to be more hurt by actions. So if an AP, says something a little bit critical of their DA partner, it lands in a way that it wouldn't necessarily hurt them. But DAs, if they, through their actions, or really in this case, it's like their inactions, are not showing up to make an effort to call back, to be consistent with their AP partner, that's what hurts the AP partner more. So they easily miscommunicate because what they're doing that's hurting one another wouldn't hurt them as much. So just to follow this example all the way through, you'll see that the dismissive avoidant, if somebody says something to a DA and they say, and it's harsh and critical, that will hurt. If somebody forgets to call a DA back, it won't hurt them. So the actions are not as hurtful to a DA, just like words are not always as hurtful to an AP. APs are much more sensitive to inactions, right? They're much more sensitive to when somebody goes missing or doesn't communicate or doesn't show up. So it's really important to be mindful of these things in this relationship dynamic. Now, on the flip side of this relationship, we'll talk about the anxious preoccupied's wounds here. Before I do, I just want to let you know if you want to do a way deeper dive, we have like a 2-hour course all about how to navigate the anxious avoidant trap relationship. I'll put in the link down below. You can access it for free for 14 days, which gives you more than enough time to get through it. Just for a limited time, we're running this. We won't be doing a 14-day trial. It's the whole school for a limited time. So I'll put it down below if you want to check it out. On the flip side of this, the AP, they have a huge fear, of course, of being abandoned. It's one of their biggest wounds. And so they tend to be really hurt and really sensitive to a DA doing anything that could go along the trajectory of abandonment. So if there's a change in the pattern, the person pulls back, They're not communicating as frequently. All of these things lead to the AP, thinking that there will be abandonment. And the AP is going to go a really long way. Instead of activating and having activating strategies, if you replace that as an AP with communicating that you need reassurance, and it doesn't have to be like, hey, I need reassurance. It can be, hey, I noticed that we've been a little bit disconnected. I just need to hear from you that we're all good and that you would tell me if something was up. And just having, a really simple discussion like that where the DA can say, no, everything's great. I care about this relationship goes a very, very long way. And it helps you, AP to communicate to your DA partner that you need some certainty sometimes, that you need a little bit of reassurance. DAs often think reassurance means 24/7 reassurance when they start to realize because you're leading the way and communicating, saying, I just need to know we're all good. I just need to know that, we're in a good space in this relationship. Nothing's up that you're not telling me about or not talking to me about. If you can just say it that simply, it's going to be a way that the DA can give reassurance. You can get your need met more effectively, and then you're going to feel in a much better space. Also, other components of woundedness is that the AP often feels rejected or not good enough. If the DA deactivates, if a DA can deactivate and say to their AP partner around these wounds, hey, I just need time alone. It has nothing to do with you. It's just how I recharge. I care about you, and share that. That also goes a very long way. Other wounds that can come up for the AP in this relationship are feeling like they don't matter if the DA is dismissive or not present. And as an AP, a really important thing to be able to do is communicate that you need presence from your partner. In doing that, that will also help, if in real time, if somebody's being dismissive and you say, hey, I'm sharing something really important with you right now. I would love for you to be present with me. If you can't right now, let me know in the next few minutes when you can be. And in doing that, it allows you to have your partner actually be present with you and be available, which will stop that from really triggering and activating your wound. I will say one other really important thing in this relationship dynamic is that both parties take a lot of care for how to communicate their needs to one another. Sometimes APs can fear doing that because they're scared to actually say that they need something in case they then become like a burden, is usually the core fear that the AP has there. It's definitely worth working through that, because you'll see that if you don't communicate your needs in a healthy way, they'll come out in a negative way. And that's when the DA will respond by pulling back. And on the flip side, as a DA, if you don't communicate your needs, you're going to constantly feel misunderstood and unheard. And that will also cause you to deactivate. And in turn, that will cause more drama in the relationship dynamic. So the more each person can talk about their wounds, talk about these fears, stretch yourself to use some of these phrases we talked about in here to improve the quality of communication in the dynamic, you're going to see so much better connection, healed communication, and a lot of your needs being able to be met and both parties feeling much more fulfilled in the relationship. So let me know if you want to see more content like this about the relationships between two parties, between two separate attachment styles specifically. If you hit the like button, I'll check it out, like a voting system, and I'll see what's being liked the most and create more content accordingly. Or you can put comments in the comment section down below for what other video content you want to see. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for being here and for being a part of this channel. I really appreciate you. And if you are a follower of this channel, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and I can't wait to see you in the future videos.